Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing? I hope everybody's doing good. I just stopped by here to have a little chit chat with you all about just life. You know, we all go through things, we all have battled some type of demons in life, and some of us still do. As a matter of fact, all of us. There's always something that we got to fight in life. But just because there are battles to fight, it doesn't give anyone the right to try to place those feelings that they are feeling inside onto someone else. I mean, you could be going through some of the worst things, but the right thing to do is if you see someone else going through something, you lift them up. You do everything that you can do in that moment to help them. If you had a bad night and you wake up in the morning, it takes a couple of seconds to say good morning to someone else. I've noticed people who just seem angry for no reason. But when you really think about life, you realize even if they say it or not, that they may be just going through something. And I get it. We have good days and we have bad days. But it's not the other person's fault because we're having a bad day. I found even when I will have little spurts of, aggravation or whatever going on in my life, that anger and, just aggression and things like that only makes the situation worse. It only makes you feel worse, you know, and making someone else's day bad, but just because your day is bad, like that's not right. And we have to remember that we reap what we sow. Whatever you put out here in this world is what you're going to get back for the most part. Now, even though, we still going to go through trials and tribulations in life, if you put out good, you're going to get it back. If you put out bad, that's what you're going to get back to you. And I don't know, I feel like the world is already, evil enough. It doesn't need our help. As children of God, people on this earth that's really just trying to really live right and to become better as people. None of us are perfect. We all fall short. But just trying to live the best way we can, trying to be better people. It starts with us. It starts with taking care of our own issues, allowing God to partner with us so that we're able to change for the better. Actually seeing, paying attention, looking at our own situations and being like, you know what? I was wrong for that. you know what? That person didn't deserve that. And I know these type of things are far-fetched, but these type of things need to be spoken about. They need to be in conversations more often. You know, before I even started my journey, you know, I did talk. You know, I'm not going to say that I was just completely silent, but I would try to prevent confrontation and stuff like that. So the things that really was in my mind to say, I held those things back because I didn't want to have to deal with a lot of the things that was already coming towards me for no reason. But God made me realize, you know, on this journey, yes, I want you to be a good person. Yes, I want you to do right by people, even when they are ugly to you. But what I don't want you to do is be anyone's doormat. What I don't want you to do is let people walk all over you. So there's like a weighing out. No, you don't have to just be walking around and you know, just being trampled over. No. But like I said earlier, it takes seconds to say good morning or excuse me or open the door for someone else, you know, or give someone a hug or pray for someone, you know, to reject gossip about others. Because some people feel like that is a bonding thing to sit around and talk about people. No, it's not, because we all have things wrong with us. You know, we all have something that we could do better, some way that we can improve our own lives. We have enough in our own circle, in our own mind, that we could sit back and think about and even talk about, rather than focusing on someone else's problems, things that you probably don't even fully know about. You know, just gossip is another sin that God really, that is a detestable thing to God. I'll just say it like that. That's one of the things that I really never liked. You know, of course, you'll say something funny, you know, maybe a little innocent joke about somebody, you know, but it just depends on how you're actually going about that. Like, are you really talking about that person? You know what I'm saying? Because we all are guilty of having them type of conversations. But is it gossip? You know, if that makes sense. But, you know, the really the bottom line to what I'm trying to say here is just watch how you treat people. Be mindful that even though, or even in our past, that we've went through so much, that may be the reason why we have anger inside, or we're ready to snap at the drop of a hat. You know, be mindful of those things. I already know who you are. So these things you can go ahead and start working on. Life is about improving yourself, changing for the better. If you're not willing to change, how do you expect to get better? How do you expect to improve your life overall? You know, we have to take responsibility for our actions and how, you know, we overcome things, how we handle situations. You know, if you know a situation is going to make you angry? Why put yourself in that? If you know someone is going to hurt you, why go around that person? You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Things like God already knows. When God removes something or something from your life, He's teaching you, okay, this is not good for you. Okay? So when you come across this same type of spirit, or this same place, or this same thing, you know to avoid it. You know to treat it or deal with it with a long handle spoon. Period. But I don't know. I'm all about, no matter what, many people is not going to know what's going on really inside of me, because I feel like that's my personal issues unless I decide to speak about it. But I'm definitely not treating people mean or indifferent just because I've had a bad life or I've been mistreated that way. So now I'm going to turn around and to do it to someone else. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I try my best, and I'm not perfect, to treat people with love and respect, you know. But I've changed in the fact that, I'm more vocal, and I'm not just going to let you just talk to me any kind of way. I'm not going to, but I'm also not out here mistreating others because people do decide to try me in those ways. And this message is just to talk about it, to just open the dialogue and just say, we can choose to be better people. It is a choice, and me personally, I just want the best for everyone, and that's it. And I know for myself, no one deserves to be mistreated, especially without cause, or even with cause, because the Lord says, vengeance is mine, I will repay. So we have no business taking situations into our own hands. Give it to God. Forgive. And move on in the best way you know how. If you can't forgive right away, keep it in your prayer. And God will help you to forgive over time. But just be mindful. We're living in our last days on this earth. We don't know the day nor the hour. But we, as children of God, need to be there for one another, not tearing each other down, but uplifting one another, praying for one another, loving one another, whether it's up close and personal or at a distance. You don't have to be around everybody that you love and care about. Okay? I just thought I'd stop by and just give that. I didn't even expect for this video to be that long, but it's okay. It's all for the glory of God. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.